Hi Droogs, how you doing? Well, just making a little video here about an issue which it took me a few years to really figure out in my head about knives. And that is, should you buy that knife? So you're looking at a knife, online or whatever, or, manufactured, maybe it's on eBay from a well-known brand. I'm talking about places like SOG, and what really cued me into this is the SOG Desert Dagger. This is not a SOG Desert Dagger. This is actually a Black Hawk military knife. I don't know what it is. I'll put the listing or whatever. Anyway, review coming. But I was looking at the SOG Desert Dagger for a lot of years. A friend of mine had one, But money's always tight, and I was like, well, it's really a cool knife. I'd really like to have it, but, And then they were on eBay. A lot of them were on eBay for $30, you know what I'm saying, and then they got a little higher, and, inflation and all, but they were still really cheap. I thought, well, I can get one of those any old time, SOG Desert Dagger, standard knife. SOG is going to make this knife forever. They're never going to stop producing it because it's popular, you know what I'm saying, and all that stuff. And then it went out of business. I mean, not SOG, but the knife. They stopped making it, went out of production. They discontinued the knife, for whatever crazy reason, I guess. I thought it was kind of a standard, cool knife. I never thought that would happen. We're talking many years ago now, probably 10, 15 years ago. I never thought it would happen. I was kind of surprised. And then I noticed for a while they're being blown out on eBay. And then I noticed you couldn't get one really below $75, $80 on eBay. That was the cheapest place you could get them, and that was what they were. And I thought again, well, I should probably buy one of these. It's not too bad a price. That's probably still less than the retail price of the knife. So I still didn't buy it though. I didn't buy one. And now those knives are going for $200 on eBay. You see one that's pretty much in new shape, it's going to bring 200. Now you can just sell one for $212. My point is, and what I learned the hard way is, I'm kind of a cheap bastard. What I'm saying. I'm kind of tight with the money, and rightly so. I think a guy should be. But there's so many times and so many knives I've seen that since that alerted me to this idea. If you want a knife, sometimes you should just buy it. If you really like it, it could really be cool to own, you should just buy the knife. Because if you don't, it can go out of production. And once that happens, that knife is going to be real expensive and real out of range. It's going to be way pricier than it's really truly worth as far as just strict value goes. It becomes a collector's knife. Something, which you really can't justify, to actually use for anything. So my advice is, sometimes you should. Especially these days, since a lot of companies, even companies like Spyderco, especially look at Spyderco knives. Go to their website, go to the discontinued knives, look at the number of really cool knives they have made. I'm not talking, the so-called sprint knives, the special knives. I'm talking about regular, everyday knives that are really good knives. But they made a bunch of them, they sold them for a long time, they had their run. Sales declined. They decide, you know what? It's not worth producing this anymore. We're gonna discontinue it. Knives like that. If you want one, it becomes kind of too late. There'll be a while to buy it after it's just discontinued, and that's one thing. And once the knife is discontinued, my suggestion is a lot of dealers will blow those knives out. Jump in there and buy them then when they're cheap, because it'll kind of be your last chance. Because once they get all soaked up, all those knives get blown out by the dealers and stuff, and on eBay, and they kind of get soaked up, and then the supply dries up. It's just like a stock or a commodity or anything. A real estate. Once the demand is much greater than supply, the price is going to start rising and rising. I learned that the hard way on many knives that I would like to have owned but didn't, and that SOG Desert Dagger was one of them. It's not a great knife in my opinion anyway, but it's kind of cool, and I wanted one. No, I don't have one. I'm not going to pay $200 for one. I'm just not going to do it. So that's just a thought, when you're knife buying, and it goes for guns too a little bit, but right now, it's mainly knives. A lot of these knife companies will produce knives for a while, and they'll change their designs, and they'll discontinue knives, and start new things, and constantly be innovating to try to, catch more of the market or whatever, and get more sales, and they'll drop other ones that aren't selling as good. So I'm just saying, that's a hard lesson I've learned, I had a mindset, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago that, those knives will be there forever. SOG knives, this Tanto or that knife or whatever it is, this self-defense knife or that survival knife, that's going to be around forever. I don't need to worry about buying that. I'll buy it when I've got some free cash I don't need or something like that, And I found out is no. It isn't necessarily that way. If you find a really cool knife you really like and the price is reasonable, you should buy it. That's what I do these days. You know, and the good thing about that is later on, if it does become discontinued and becomes rare, you can make money on it. If you want to justify buying a knife, that's a hell of a way to do it. If you've got a wife or something, I'm currently divorced and going to stay divorced, but if you had a wife, honey, I have to buy this knife now because it's cheap and it's going to be discontinued and I can make money later on. And you really can, actually. I'm not in it for the money, but that part of it, but still, it's nice to know if you want to sell it later on, you can. Alright guys, that's it. Nice talking to you. I'll talk to you later.